Hope you're having a good day today. Appreciate you joining me. We are going to be looking at when David spares Saul today in the cave. Our hymn is called Speak Gently.
Speak gently to the erring ones, ye know not all the power with which the dark temptation came in some unguarded heart.
Actually, like that hymn quite a bit. It's a very nice hymn pointing towards Galatians chapter 6, actually. Verse 2 Ye may not know how earnestly they struggled or how well, until the hour of weakness came, and sadly thus they fell. Speak gently to the erring one, O do not thou forget, however darkly stained by sin, he is thy brother yet. Heir of the self-same heritage, child of the self-same God, he hath but stumbled in the path thou hast in weakness trod. Let's look in 1 Samuel chapter 24 and think about David being a man after God's own heart, and David here sparing Saul. It happened when Saul had returned, and we'll go back and we'll look. We're jumping ahead 3 or 4 chapters, but we'll go back and look to see what happens here in a second. But he's coming after David. So Saul takes 3,000 chosen men from all Israel, went to seek him, and his men on the rocks of the wild goats. So he came to the sheepfolds by the road. There's a cave. Saul goes in there to attend to his needs. David and his men were staying in the recesses of the cave. Then the men of David said to him, This is the day of which the Lord said to you, Behold, I will deliver your enemy into your hand, that you may do to him as it seems good to you. So this is where David rises up, cuts off a corner of Saul's robe. Saul doesn't realize it. Saul comes out, and then David comes out after him and says, Look what I have, and look what I could have done. David very much could have slain Saul right there on the spot, but he did not. He spared him, and he was actually gentle with him, and he does this more than once. Well, the thing is, Saul did not deserve mercy. He did not deserve this kindness. And to see how much he did not deserve it, look back at what had happened in the chapters that we skipped over. In chapter 20 is where we were yesterday when Jonathan warned Saul. Chapter 21 is David and the holy bread. What that leads to is David fleeing to Gath there, but then in the next chapter, you have Saul killing the priests. And so that's why I say when we come up to chapter 24, man, Saul did not deserve mercy. And I suppose that's why David's a man after God's own heart. Saul didn't deserve it. It's called grace. That's why it's called grace, unmerited favor. We should be real thankful that the Lord does not give us what we deserve. We should be real thankful that the Lord gives us what we do not deserve. Grace, and we are thankful for it. And, as we think about our hymn, Speak Gently to the Erring One, it's real easy to say, well, they don't deserve it. That's why it's called grace. You who are spiritual, restore such a one in I believe, what does it say? Does it say in a spirit of meekness? Let me look it up real quick. It's in Galatians chapter 6, like I said a minute ago. Yeah, brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted. Saul didn't deserve David's grace, but that is why it's called grace. Back to the account. Something else we might point out is that David's men encouraged him to kill him. They're the ones who say, This is the day of which the Lord said to you. And David actually refers to that later on. He says in verse 10, "Look, this day your eyes have seen that the Lord delivered you today into my hand in the cave, and someone urged me to kill you." Yeah, that someone was your own men. "Someone urged me to kill you, but my eyes spared you, and I said, I will not stretch out my hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed." Sometimes our own brethren, sometimes those on our own side, if you will encourage us to do some deed. Just because people approve of something does not mean it's right. David's soldiers approved of killing Saul. This isn't the only time, by the way. And that didn't mean that it was the right thing to do. And so we need to be careful, and we need to make sure that we're doing what's pleasing to the Lord and not just playing to the crowd, so to speak. Back in the account, David also could have said, "The Lord has delivered you into my hand," and he could have slain him. But did you notice in that previous verse, even the men say, "This is the day of which the Lord said to you, I will deliver your enemy into your hand, that you may do to him as it seems good to you." It was up to David. I would suggest what it was a test. That's what it was. The Lord says, "I'm going to deliver him into your hand. What you do with him is up to you, but it's a test. Are you going to be vengeful, or are you going to be merciful?" Initially, David thought about killing him, but then he thought about it. And then he thought, no, maybe that's not the right thing to do. I need to go easy and need to be gentle. And like I said, he does it more than once. Might consider it. Speak gently. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.